We three kings of Orient are, bearing gifts we traverse afar, field and fountain, moor and mountain, following yonder star. Oh, star of wonder, star of night, star with royal beauty bright, westward leading, still proceeding, guide us to thy perfect light.
He's Tony. I'm Mike. We're here for part 3 of These Three Kings, episode 3. Or sorry, part 3.
Yeah.
Blue Hawaii.
Now,
Tell us a little bit about Blue Hawaii.
well, I was gonna say, so far you are one in and one out on this one.
I am.
But so this is the tiebreaker for the series here. So I don't know what your takeaway is going to be on this movie. I'm just gonna kick this off by saying I enjoy Blue Hawaii quite a bit. I watched this one unironically. I enjoy it for exactly what it is. I think this one it's not a complex story. It's a pretty straightforward narrative, but I think it's engaging enough to be entertaining, and there's some great musical numbers in this one. There's actually one of my favorite Elvis numbers in this one. But I don't want to go too deep into the weeds on this one, but
I'm kind of
don't break my heart, Mike.
I'm kind of middle of the road on this one. It wasn't as bad as Fun in Acapulco as far as storyline goes. It has a much more streamlined story. Some people aren't quite as likable as I would like them to be. The music numbers aren't as organic as Viva, and actually even less organic than Fun in Acapulco, which I didn't think was possible, but totally is. But I don't know. We'll figure it out when I get to the end of it. I'll say if I'm going to recommend this baby or not. So let's just blow through some of the stuff here. So the movie was released in 1961. Estimated budget of $2 million. I couldn't find any real accurate gross numbers. Wiki says 4.2 million. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Don't know.
Actually, if I'm not mistaken, the reason for the discrepancy there is Box Office Mojo tracks ticket sales. And so that's the total number of tickets that were sold for that particular movie. And when you look at Wikipedia articles, they actually are looking at film rental figures. So what it is, how much did movie theaters pay to rent this particular film out so that they could show it? Part of the culture that's changed a little bit, and the reason that they went by rental numbers on that one, was because back in the 60s, you could buy a movie ticket and you could wait for the movie to end and then stay and watch it again. They didn't come in and throw everybody out, so you didn't have to worry about being there when the movie started. So yeah, it makes sense if you look at it like that. And the only recent example I can see, in one of the later seasons of Mad Men, Don Draper decides to spend a day with his kid, his son, and he takes him to go see Planet of the Apes. And they're sitting in the movie theater, and the movie ends, and Don Draper asks his kid, well, what did you think? And he's like, I really liked it. And he's like, well, you want to stay and watch it again? And that's the only modern example that I can see where they actually are saying, yeah, you didn't get thrown out of the movie theater when the movie was over with. If you wanted to stay, you could stay. So that's why Wikipedia is actually doing rentals as opposed to ticket sales. It makes sense. Here's a question for you, and this is kind of an out of nowhere one, but is this not the same red sports car that was shown in Fun in Acapulco?
Yes, it looks, yes. I think it is the same car. So I think either Elvis had a thing for that car, or the writer had a thing for this fucking car. Speaking of which, let's finish going through our.
Go through it. Yeah, tell us about the cast and the crew.
All right. So it's directed by Norman Turog. Story by my good buddy Alan Weiss, Fuck that, dude. Screenplay by Hal Kenter. So our stars are Elvis Presley as Chad Gates. Then we have Joan Blackman as Molly Duvall, who is the main love interest. Angela Lansbury as Sarah Lee Gates, who is Elvis's mother in this movie. Roland Winters as Fred Gates, the father. Nancy Walters as Abigail Prentice, who is the school teacher and chaperone for the girls that Elvis takes on tour. And the girls are Jenny Maxwell as Ellie, who plays the bratty one. Pamela Austin as Selena. Darlene Tompkins as Patsy. And Christian Kay as Beverly. The other three girls really don't have much. They're just there to look pretty and dance, which is fine. Ellie is the only character that has any real
development.
Real development.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm not going to fault it. That's kind of by design. And it's just a plot shorthand that, like, here's the three well-behaved girls. See, look how ladylike they are. Look how well, groomed and how well-mannered they are. And she's supposed to stick out from the group. She's supposed to be the bratty kid. And it all plays through in the plot. So I'm not going to fault the other three ladies. They were wonderful for the very small parts that they had. They were there for a reason, and they delivered on what they were there for. So it's all good.
Well, that's our cast. That's our crew. Take us to the plot.
Well, there's one thing I do want to say real quick, and I find this funny because Angela Lansbury is obviously very famous, even to this day. She was on the long-running Murder, She Wrote series. She was in several films prior to this. But here's the thing I find fascinating about this film. Angela Lansbury was 10 years older than Elvis when she played his mother in this film. So Elvis, I believe, was 28 and she was 38. And but that being
poor
said,
Angela Lansbury was never all that attractive of a lady. I mean, she wasn't ugly by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not saying that. But she always looked very motherly.
She was attractive, but at the same time, she was distinctive looking, because when you start looking at a lot of women, especially in the 60s, there was as much as beauty standards, there's always been that it look. And so you go back to this time period, and it's Marilyn Monroe and Mamie Van Doren, and there were plenty of actresses that were literally carbon copies of one another. Angela Lansbury at least had a distinct look. So I understand why she has stood the test of time. And it's very much the same as Betty White. Betty White, was she an attractive younger lady? Absolutely. And was she attractive as she got older? Absolutely. But she was distinctive looking. You could pick Betty White out of a crowd. So Blue Hawaii. We kick off the movie, and it's got Millie, and she is driving her sweet little red sports car. She is racing down the street, and she gets pulled over by a cop. And the cop's like, "Hey, look, I've warned you time and time again. You've got a lead foot, little lady. You need to slow the hell down. And, I'm going to have to give you a ticket this time." And she's like, "Well, Chad is back." And naturally, we're all like, who the fuck is
that's
Chad?
all you had to say.
Yeah. Chad's back. Let's go. I'll escort you to the airport. And so they drive to the airport, and this is maybe a continuity error. It may just me being nitpicky, but this is why we're here. So when they get to the airport, he jumps off the motorcycle, and she jumps out of her car, and she's like, "I gotta go. He's probably already landed." And she runs into the airport. Now, later in the film, apparently, first off, she stops in the no parking zone.
Yeah.
It's plain as day there. But when she comes out later, her car has not been towed. No, her very good Polynesian police officer friend has taken the time to lovingly park the car appropriately in a space for her.
No, it's in the same spot. It's the exact same spot.
No, she's in a parking space. Are you positive?
Nope.
Are you positive?
Nope.
I really thought
I distinctly looked for that. I was like, she's parked right here in the middle of fucking nowhere. And I thought she's going to come back out and the cop would still be there, but he's gone. No, it's still sitting out there in front of the other cars in a no parking spot.
Well,
no, it is not
on her for blocking somebody else in, but I really thought that it had been moved to a parking spot. There was an aerial shot down.
Nope.
So anyway,
and if I'm wrong, then and you're correct. We'll see it.
Anyway, yeah, just remember this is a show produced by two men with failing memories. So it's a race to see who loses their shit first. So
anyway, so she gets there and her grandma's already there, and they open up the plane door and there's Elvis, already hooking up with the stewardess. Like,
we don't call him the king for nothing. And so Millie gets pissed off and she storms off, but she's not really mad. But he's like, hey, you know what? It was a joke. I knew you were going to be there. And, you know, we staged this just to see if you still care. And it's quickly resolved because when Chad kisses you, you know you've been kissed, damn it. Because he actually resolves the whole issue with, that's not a kiss. This is a kiss, Millie. And he lays one on her. Which is honestly, it's pretty tepid. I was like expecting sparks and romance, but I will say this: Millie is gorgeous. So you know, there is some, unlike Fun in Acapulco, there is some serious chemistry here. These two eye fuck each other through the whole movie. Anyway, Millie volunteers to take Chad home, and Chad is all like, you know what? Fuck that. Take me to the shack. I want to see the beach. I have spent all this time in Europe. I really just want to see the water. I want to get my swim on. And so they go to the shack, and it's this, you know, cute little side of the beach shack. And he's like, hey, I brought you a bathing suit from Paris. Mm-hmm. And she says, oh, you were thinking of me when you were in Europe? And he responds back, no, I was thinking of me. So, there's a raw, powerful honesty there. And so Millie goes in and she changes into her bathing suit, and that's a bathing suit. Good Lord, she looks hot in that suit. It is very, very flatteringly fitted to her. They run out to the water and they go for a swim, and there's a scene like their friends come, like, you know, it's not a canoe.
Our buddies just come paddling up right as they're swimming out there.
Yes.
And that's where we get our first musical number, because of course they have fucking instruments with them. And of course they have a fucking guitar for Elvis right there.
This is our second musical number. The first musical number is when they're driving back from the airport.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
He sings to her about he was faithful almost the entire time. and it is a funny and charming song. So I will not let you just be like, no, that's our first song. No. That was the big charm right there. So his buddies, who apparently they were in the band, and, you know, for the 2 years that he was gone in the military, they were waiting for Chad to come back so they could get the band back together, damn it. And so they have this wonderful musical number. And you're watching this movie for the first time, and they canoe back to the beach where they're, like, you know, getting their, you know, rock-a-hula on. And you're like, wait, they just left Millie, like, out in the fucking water. Like, she was, like, treading water, and y'all just bailed on her. Well, what you realize is that they didn't really leave her in the water, because Millie's top washes up on the shore. And now you know why she hasn't come back in. And you know, Elvis sees the top and he swims it out to her because he's a gentleman, and, you know, Millie is a lady, and it's all good. And so they have a conversation.
Wasn't the dog swimming out?
The dog swims it in.
Wrong.
And the dog goes out into the water, swims back with it, and Elvis is like, oh, hey, this is Millie's top. And so he, you know, swims it out to Millie. Good Lord, either we're going to find out which one of us has the failing memory after this movie.
Well, the problem is I watched this many nights ago, so
So, well, it's okay.
I don't know. When did you watch it last?
Thursday. I watched it Thursday.
So several nights ago. So yeah. So we're both fucked. This review will not be 100% accurate. Sorry, but we apologize.
Okay, anyway, so they have the conversation, and he basically lets Millie know, look, you know what? I spent 2 years in the military, and I thought that it would give me this big sense of direction. And what it really proved to me is that I don't know what I want to do, but I don't want to come back to this ready package life, because my parents, they've made it very clear in the letters that they've written that they expect me to come back. They expect me to go to work for my dad's, who's like one of the vice presidents, one of the bigwigs at the Pineapple company. And he doesn't want that. He wants to try a couple things out on his own. And he's not wrong. That's they later show Elvis's parents. They show Chad's parents, and they have very, very much they don't approve of his choice of women, and she's just this beach bum girl, and they're
very prejudiced.
Yes.
Yes, because they talk down to they think the island people, the native people, are definitely of lower class and stature.
I won't say they, I'll say she. I think Angela Lansbury comes off as a Southern Belle racist, because the dad is constantly sniping at her for all of her. Oh, that's not right and that's not proper, and he's just kind of got that. He's rolling his eyes or burying in his newspaper. But there is a couple times later in the film where she says something, and I don't want him to make a dreadful mistake. And he says something like, "I married you."
Right. Yeah.
So,
the dad has several good quips back at Sarah Lee. Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, they have a really good dynamic going on there. It's really well done.
Sarah Lee, there are times when I could wring your fool neck.
It really is well done. And then, here's the other thing too. The big boss from Atlanta, who is the actual owner of the company. So if I'm not mistaken, the way that it's structured, the company is actually owned out of Atlanta, Georgia, and that basically Chad's father is the regional vice president of the company. So he basically oversees all operations in Hawaii. Now, I'm just going to say, I want that fucking job. So no matter how miserable it is, if you need to come in every 3 months and beat my ass with a board with some nails in it, I'm up to date on my tetanus shots. I'm fully prepared to take one for the team, because I can't imagine a sweeter gig than that. Let me see if I understand this correctly. You want to fly me to Paris, put me up in a palatial mansion, give me a manservant named Ping Pong, little racist, and in exchange for all that, I just have to oversee operations of the pineapple harvest in Hawaii? Well, okay, all right. Oh, wait, I'm not seeing the problem here, but apparently Elvis does see the problem. He stays at the beach in the shack for several days, and they move the plot forward very skillfully, might I add, where Chadwick's father comes and sees Millie at the tourist agency where she works, and he's like, look, I know that he's back and his mother doesn't, and I don't want to break her heart, and I don't want to deal with the bullshit. So can you please tell him to come to the house? He's been home for 5 days. Hopefully he's kind of unwound and got it out of his system. Can you please have him come to the house so that I don't got to deal with all this bullshit? It's weirdly if you're a parent, you're going to be like, yeah, that's probably how I would choose to handle it too. I don't need to make a big stink about it. I just need to let him know that, hey, you know what? We know you're back. Show up. So Chadwick does his duty. He pulls up and he says hello to his mom and dad and all that. And they start in on him immediately with you're going to go to work for your father at the pineapple company. And he's like, yo.
You need a Southern accent if you're going to do it.
Well, I'm sorry.
You got to be a Southern belle.
Chadwick, you're going to be a good son and go to work for your father for the pineapple Pineapple Company, I do declare.
Marshall, you better not
take
take
another Mai Tai.
Ping pong, give me.
These
I
pineapples
can't do it
are
either.
just
So okay.
wonderful. And by the way, so apparently Blue Hawaii is all about selling pineapple products, which include pineapple and Mai Tais.
So there is a Jimmy Buffett-esque thing going on there because they're all about getting fucked up because they drink for the whole movie.
You're in Hawaii. The weather is beautiful. The water is beautiful. The people are beautiful. You might as well get shit-faced. So Chadwick goes home. He puts up with his mother, and because she's a Southern belle, which is to say, a bitch. Chadwick goes home, blah, blah, blah. He lets his parents know, look, I'm not, rushing out to join up with the greater pineapple company. I want to try things my way. I just got out of the military. Let me give some things a shot. So that's all fine and good. He applies for a job with Millie's tourist agency. She, books travel arrangements for people that are visiting the islands, and she's very good at her job, which is a good thing because her boss is kind of a doddering idiot of sorts. And they have this, amazing little interview where he's quizzing Chad, and he's like, hey, well, if I wanted to see this, what would you tell me? And Chad has, either a really interesting answer or what is considered the correct answer for everything. But he definitely proves his chops. He knows the islands. He's not just some, idiot with a map. He legitimately knows the sites and knows the locations. So he gets hired on a trial basis. And we are treated to Elvis's welcome home party that his mother throws, and we get the Rockahula number, which is awesome. So because you have the band there, and it's Chad's friends and his backup band, and Chad shows up at the party, and again, Mom is trying to, push him, just forget all that. You just need to go and be a fine Southern gentleman and meet a fine Southern girl, and blah, 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 blah. And don't bring that tramp to the house. I do believe I have a headache. I need another Mai Tai ping pong. But yeah.
Anyways, the scene. So Elvis was asked not to bring Miley to the party, but he brings Miley to the party, and that's why they do the whole Rockahula number. Is so they could literally dance out the front fucking door. See you later.
It's awesome. I love that scene. I love that scene for a lot of reasons. But first off, there's Elvis. He's doing this hips thing, and he's got the two fucking feathery maracas that he's shaking while he's dancing. And then that becomes like the prop that gets thrown around to different people, which is, leads up to them dancing out the door. It's awesome. I love that whole number. I love everything about it.
Yeah. I love how Sarah Lee's appalled at Miley's dancing, who's dancing just the way Elvis is dancing, or Chad. That's exactly the same way he's shaking their ass all over the place. But, my stars, fucking, we can't have that island girl dancing like this.
After that, they go to Millie's grandmother's birthday party.
Yeah.
Was it after this or before this?
I don't remember.
But I'm not sure what the order is. I think it was actually before the party for Chadwick. The best musical number in the movie is when they go to Millie's birthday party, and he brought her back a music box from Germany where he had been stationed, and this is the one. There's like three musical numbers that are very organically led into, and this is one of them because he gives her the music box, and she asks, well, what song does it play? And he pops open the music box, and it starts up with I Can't Help Falling in Love with You, and then the band kicks in playing along with the music box, and then Elvis leans into that motherfucker, and it's glorious and it's awesome, and it was nice that he's not singing it to his girlfriend. He's singing it to her grandmother for her birthday.
But see, that's my problem with it, is it didn't seem appropriate. And plus the fact, too, that I actually know this song. you know, whereas in any other Elvis movie, you don't know these fucking tunes because you only see them in the fucking movie. So, but since everybody knows, I Can't Help Falling in Love with You, because whether you didn't hear from Elvis, you've heard somebody else sing or cover this fucking tune like a million times. It felt weird and out of place for me, because it didn't seem appropriate for you to sing it to the grandma. It didn't work. I didn't like it.
He's not singing it to her. He's singing it for her, because at the same time,
I know, but you know what I mean. Well, it's still weird. It's like having your son-in-law give you a lap dance at your daughter's wedding.
I'm just gonna say.
You know exactly what I'm talking about.
I understand. I know exactly what you're talking about. But I'm just gonna say, the fact that you equate Elvis's singing of this song to a lap dance should let you know just how wonderful a singer Elvis really is. That all being said, Millie has booked a tour group for Elvis, and it's some school-age girls and a teacher, and they're going to go meet with her just to kind of finalize and close the deal. And they go to the restaurant, and there's this very old matronly schoolmarm reading a book, and they're like, oh, that must be her. And no, it turns out that it's the smoking hot, milfy redhead. Mm-hmm. And Elvis is Chad is perfectly professional. He is fun, and he is inviting without overselling it. And he makes like one crack, and he's like, well, they didn't build teachers like this when I was in school, which is perfectly appropriate. He's letting her know that, yes, you're a very attractive woman. But Millie, I think, reads too much into that, and she's kind of starts giving Chad the sideway eyes of.
I think that's an appropriate reaction. I mean, this is the same guy that also, when you landed, saw him kissing a fucking stewardess. So no, it's completely justified.
I'm not saying it's not justified. As a matter of fact, I'm going to say that this is why this is a much more competent film than Fun in Acapulco, because all of these issues are front loaded. Yes. There's a reason why she doesn't quite trust, Chad with, the school marm and
he even sings a song about it.
Yes. Yeah. So, but it's well paced, it's well characterized, it's well, fleshed out within the confines of the story. But that all being said, the young schoolmarm, says, all right, you know what, you seem like you'll be a fun guide, you'll be appropriate for this. And so they make arrangements, and Elvis goes, and he shows up with the big convertible car, and that car's got to be 27 feet long. It is a land barge. It is no two ways about it.
It's the vehicle you take to the Love Shack. It's a Chrysler as big as a fucking whale. It can load up as many hot bitches as you want.
And he does. And so and my favorite part of that whole bit is he goes and he gets the car ready, and he's like, all right, ladies, well, where do we want to go first? And she's like, well, what do you recommend? He's like, we could go see the pineapple fields. And one of the girls in the group, the troublemaker,
Ellie,
she's all like, I hate, but he's like, well, let's go see the pineapple fields. And she's like, I hate pineapples. And he goes, well, I guess then we'll just get that out of the way first. So
yeah, he handles her very well throughout the film. He has a very good, nice, quippy remark for everything that she's got. And none of it's like real dickheadish or whatever. It's just enough. Yes. It's just enough to put her in her place without overstepping the line. So it's finely crafted as far as how he deals with her bullshit. Yeah.
So they go to the pineapple fields, and this is the part that's very you can tell the pineapple company threw some money at the production on this one, because it's very look at the care and how professional the pineapple ladies are when they're picking their pineapples, and they reach in there and they don't get cut because pineapples are like reaching into razor blades, baby. so and there's the pineapple stand where they sample the pineapple, and Elvis Ellie is sitting in the backseat of the car. She did not get out to hear him talk about the pineapples. because she's kind of a snotty little bitch. And Elvis brings her a plate of pineapple, and she throws it out. She's like, when do I get to see some action? So she's in a hurry to grow up. I don't know why, but she is. And this is all kiddie stuff and blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, again, another perfectly cast role. This is a character that, like, you just want to slap the shit out of. And so, you know, it's well written. It's well acted. It is well played. Kudos to the production team for putting this little lady in this particular role, because I really did just want to slap the shit out of her. So, so they go back and Elvis is going to, they do this ritual where, like, all the natives, like, get a net, and it's night fishing, and they have torches to draw the fish in, and he's basically showing them, hey, you know, this is how we throw a party in Hawaii, and hey, if you don't help haul the net in, you don't get to eat. And, you know, it's very cool. I want to do this. I want to go to Hawaii and do the night fishing and, like, you know, cook fish on the beach. And naturally, Ellie, being the snot that she is, you know, she takes joy in nothing, because nothing is fun. I got nothing. Elvis is a gentleman about the whole thing, and he is, you know, one of his buddies, the one who's actually doing all the cooking, says, hey, Chad, you know, can you go get some wood? And he goes out and Ellie flings herself at him. You know, oh, I want some action. I want some this. And he's like, you know, you're like 15. And, you know, he doesn't even give her, like, you know, when you grow up. No, he's just kind of like, yeah, you're a kid. Fuck off. Yeah. So, and he's like, you know, she's like, oh, come on. You know you want this. And he's like, puts her arms out. And she, you know, puts her arms out. And she's waiting for the sweet embrace of the king. And he loads her up with some firewood. And she gets pissed off, and she storms away, which is exactly what he was trying to look. He's going to either diffuse this situation or fucking end it one way or the other. And we are treated to a sweet Elvis number where they're kicking sand all over Polynesian guys.
another song I didn't like. I hated that song. I didn't like it at all. And there's a back-to-back. That was actually the second number that he did.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, you're just being a fucking dick. You're kicking sand all over your buddy. That's fucking just. What the fuck's he even doing there? Was he playing? Was he playing an instrument? I can't remember. But anyway, he's just sitting there minding his own fucking business. He got fucking Elvis up there. And fucking will kick sand all over you, motherfucker. You know, it's like, come on, dude. You're a dick.
I don't like sand. It's coarse and rough and irritating, and it gets everywhere.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying that, you know, it wasn't just Elvis kicking sand at him. Elvis did have a.
Oh, he had the whole group
there, and the whole troop, the teacher, the girls, they were all kicking sand at him. But Elvis instigated it. You're right. It was kind of a dick move. But the flip side is they are on the beach, and the water is just a few feet away, so you can go, you know, rinse off. Not that. I'm just gonna say this: if you're gonna kick sand at your buddies, bring age-appropriate women to the party as an apology. So they have the spectacular party. Everybody's having a wonderful time, and the teacher is, you know, just enamored with how much Chad knows about the island and the sights and how wonderfully entertained all the girls have been, and and naturally, this is when, you know, mom's like, well, time for you to quit that job and go work for your old man. You're just wasting your time with all this crap, and it's stupid, and I don't know why you're doing it. And you know, Elvis is, Chad is Elvis. He doesn't need to take this shit. What happens after the party? Immediately after the party, I remember that he goes and he meets the vice president of the company, and
I think they want to kind of like pat him on the back because he's doing such a good job. That's where the teacher is like, oh, you know, I really like him, blah 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 blah. And so yeah, it's kind of like, oh, we should hire this guy. Well, you already hired him like a couple of days ago. Oh, really? Well, he should be taking care of these people. He's already doing that. Oh, well, that's great. You know, rock on, carry on.
Yeah, I was gonna say the scenes with the boss. He's supposed to be a clueless idiot. Again, perfectly cast, perfectly performed. It's cute. It's funny. It's not insulting, and you know, you don't feel like they're not working for Mel at Mel's Diner. He's not like just a complete cad. He's just a clueless kind of idiot. But all the moving parts come together in an interesting way. It's not like Fun in Acapulco where there's just all this random shit going on, and it's just everything that happens in this movie works towards, it's all designed to move the character arcs along. None of it is just tacked on. So this is a much better written film.
Yeah, and it all comes together at another party that he takes everybody to. And in this case, there's not an older couple, but like a middle-aged couple that are really having a really good time, a little too much of a good time.
A little too loose with the Mai Tais.
Right. And so Ellie decides she's going to flirt with this older gentleman. And, the older gentleman's like, oh, well, this chick's like really into me. Okay. And you got the wife that's like drunk and oblivious, and she's like off doing her own fucking thing.
Apparently she's cool with it because she's right there the whole time. It's kind of fucking weird, and
it's like they're hitting that they're kind of swingers or some shit like that. They're definitely open to whatever.
They're either swingers or their definition of vacation is really different than most people's. But if it works for them, I'm not judging. Yeah. But Ellie is faking a French accent, and she's trying to play it off like she's a French chick while she's hitting on this dude. So it's, again, if you want to slap the shit out of Ellie, tell them about the party. Tell them about everything that transpires there.
So anyways, so like you said, Ellie's in this dude's lap. I mean, like playing it up. Great actor performance. And Elvis is like, hey, dude, this girl isn't what she appears to be. She's not really into you. She's just acting and all this shit. This dude ain't fucking buying what else is selling at all. So it gets physical fast, and there's a good fight scene. I mean, it's an all-out brawl, and Elvis kicks a lot of ass. I think even the band joins in and kicks some.
Yeah, yep.
I mean, it's an all-out. I mean, it's a ballroom blitz. I mean, no doubt about it. Full-on fight. Elvis gets arrested.
The whole band gets arrested.
Yeah. So they all end up in jail. Sarah Lee bails Elvis out, or the dad bails. Elvis gets bailed out.
You're missing one, because this is another one. This is like the real bright spot musical number late in the film, because the rest of them are very much lackluster. It's like, oh, we're on the beach and we're gonna sing about a luau and blah 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 blah. This is the one musical number in the movie where he's in jail and he's singing, and the guy in the cell across from him is playing the harmonica.
Oh yeah.
And the band is in the cell with him, and they're strumming their ukuleles, and Elvis is singing about being in jail. It's fucking funny. I don't know. It's not a great song. It's not like one that I would like listen to in my car or anything like that. But in the context of this movie, it is funny. And the guy who started the fight starts fucking with Elvis. Hey, why don't you shut up? And the guy that's like, you know what? I hope you guys get life so I can hear you guys sing all the rest of the time. After, he punches out the guy that started the fight at the bar. So it's genuinely a funny scene.
Yeah.
Go ahead, take it from there. I just needed to fill that one in because it's one of the highlights of the movie for me.
All right. So anyway, Elvis gets bailed out, and they end up going back to the or maybe it's still there at the police station. But the older couple show up there with Miley's boss, and they're bitching about Elvis. Hey, he probably sitting there. He got started this fight and all this shit. We're very unhappy. So Elvis gets fired right there. And then at that point, I don't remember what happens right after that.
Well, what happens is he goes, he fires Elvis. Elvis tries to explain, hey, look, I didn't start this. I was defending the girls.
Yeah.
And he winds up getting fired anyway. Millie quits right there.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And what winds up happening is, they go to the beach, and Elvis is like, well, I've lost my job. I guess I'm going to have to go to work for my old man at the Pineapple Place. And she's like, why? They were having a wonderful time. They don't want to, anybody but you as a tour guide. And he's like, Millie, that's a perfect idea. So they contact the school teacher, and they go, hey, look, you know what? We'll finish your tour out. You pay us directly for it. we're not working for that company, but you get all the same attention that you had before, which is, the kickoff for them having their own tourist business. So they finished the tour, and the only thing that's go ahead. Oh,
so they have one more night where they show them around, and then that evening,
they fly to another one of the Hawaiian islands. They charter a plane to go visit one of the other islands and see the sights there.
Yeah.
And so they have to have hotel rooms and all of that has to be arranged. But
so that evening everybody's in their rooms and whatnot, and Ellie sneaks out, to make another move on Elvis. And so while she's there, the teacher shows up, and so Elvis like, hide over here. Teacher shows up, and you think she's making a move on Elvis, but you find out later she's really not. But it comes across like
she's
like laid on her head.
Known.
Yeah.
Well,
I have fallen true love. It's all because of you. This and that, la 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 la, and then Miley shows up, and so she gets hidden too. And I think at some point, like, everybody kind of comes out in the open.
What happens is Elvis is just Chad is trying to get these crazy bitches out of his room.
Yeah.
and
get the fuck out of here.
Millie calls and he's like, look, I'll meet you in the bar in 5 minutes. And he's just trying to get the hell out of the room because first it's Ellie, then it's the two girls that Ellie was sharing a room with that are also on the tour, and then he hides the three of them, and then it's the teacher, and she like, it seems like she's professing her love.
Really? Ladies, I thought.
Oh yeah, yes, because Ellie sees the teacher kiss Chad, and she gets upset and goes running out, and then the two girls go running after her.
Okay.
And then Millie shows up and sees sees the teacher kiss Chad, and she storms off. She's like, "Oh, that you two-timing hussy!" And then what happens is the two girls come back, and because they were chasing Ellie because Ellie had borrowed some of their perfume and their night clothes to make a pass at him. But Ellie had stolen a Jeep and had driven off. So Chad goes and he gets the car and he's going to hunt her ass down. And Ellie gets into a minor fender bender. And seeing as Viva Las Vegas inspired Speed Racer, I've often wondered if this is the movie that inspired the Barbie Jeep, because that Jeep is pink as shit. It is like the pinkest Jeep. And I don't know that I had seen an earlier example of somebody taking a U.S. Army Jeep and modding it like that. But yes, it is the Barbie Super Jeep that you remember from childhood when Barbie didn't have her VW Rabbit or her Corvette. It was the Jeep that Barbie was running around in, and this shit is like, she looks like Barbie. She's driving that shit like, and it's pink, so I'm curious. That's something that and Barbie did like come out not too, like, right around this time as well. So
somewhere around there.
Like, I was like 58, 57, some shit like that. Anyway, so I'm curious if like that kind of inspired the Barbie getting her own Jeep. Like, oh, look at this pink Jeep. It's adorable. Anyway, Elle gets into an accident and she decides she's going to run off in the woods. She's just so completely hurt and rejected that she's going to go out into the water and try to kill herself. And Chad goes out and rescues her. And they have a heart-to-heart on the beach where she basically says, look, my parents don't want me. They shuffle me off everywhere. And when I'm not, at school, I'm being sent off on these trips and nobody cares about me. And Chad says, you know what? I care about you, and I'm going to show you just how much I care about you. And he turns her over his knee and gives her the ass whooping that she so richly has earned throughout the course of this film. So, I mean...
And then she ends up in the Castle Anthrax, bathing, dressing, undressing, making exciting lingerie. Apparently,
anyway, apparently it is what she needed, because the next day at breakfast, she's sitting on a pillow, but she's very well mannered. And Chad is there at breakfast, and the teacher is there, and there's kind of like this weird thing. Millie is like staring at Chad and staring at the teacher like, this is when you two should like fess up to what you all been doing, because I know some heinous shit has been going on. And Millie gets mad and storms off, and Chad's like, whoa, what did I do? Yeah. And then even Chad is not quite sure. He still thinks that the teacher is coming on to him, or trying to ensnare him. And turns out that teacher lady was actually just trying to thank Chad because she introduced him to Jack, his dad's boss. And Jack has been a gentleman, and they have been so discreet that nobody saw what the hell was going on. But Jack and the teacher lady, they have hit it off. It is a whirlwind romance. They are. It's not. I don't know. I guess this would be like a May-June romance. It's not May-December. He's not that much older than her, but it's very age appropriate and it's very sweet and blah 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 blah. And Jack is thrilled that he met this lady through Chad. And Chad's a good guy, and he got to see that Chad is actually cool, and that Chad's parents, Angela Lansbury, should just shut the fuck up. And so Chad goes to Millie, and Millie is like, just shut up, just leave me the hell alone. And it's like, look, it's not me, it's Jack that she has feelings for. And Millie shutting the blinds, and she sees Jack and those two, and it's like, oh well, I guess I was totally mistaken, and I'm totally being a bitch about this, and I should really apologize to Chad, because Chad has been a good guy throughout this whole thing. He's not been a jerk about it. Anyway, all that bullshit aside, what finally happens is that Millie and Chad have a phenomenal idea, and they're going to present it to Jack and Chad's father. And it's essentially this: look, your sales team meets here every year. We will take care of all the accommodations. We will take care of all that. I will be working for the fruit company, the pineapple company, but I'm going to be doing it as an independent contractor. I'm going to help you guys do that and arrange contests for your top selling people to come to Hawaii and spend time here. And it's a wonderful idea, and it's a wonderful resolution, and everybody is happy, and yet everybody's happy, but not in a corny or contrived way. It's a very satisfying, like everybody's concerns were addressed in a satisfying way, and it doesn't feel hammy or dumb.
No, that everybody gets what they want, in a way. Chad's working for the company, though indirectly. So Sarah Lee's fine with that, and Elvis is doing his own thing, and it's very satisfying. Everybody gets what they want. It's a win-win-win. So
I had seen this movie before, obviously. What's your takeaway on this one? Where does this one fall on the Viva Las Vegas to Fun in Acapulco scale?
Right in the middle.
Yeah?
It falls right in the middle. Because at the beginning, Chad comes off like a douche. Like the first third of the movie, he's not very likable. But as the movie goes on, he becomes more likable. And at the end, he wins you over because he's fucking Elvis. And all the ancillary characters work out well, and it's a good enough story. The only thing that's really holding this back is the musical numbers, because there's only, like I said, there's only a couple of them that are actually really good. The rest are just just fucking sing.
All the songs on this, with the exception of like those three, they're very Polynesian flavored songs. Yeah. They are most definitely not intended to be anything other than exactly what they are. Yeah. They were,
and they're nowhere near as well written as the ones in Fun in Acapulco, or definitely not as good as Viva. But and that's the biggest thing for me is like this seemed more like as a music video vehicle for Elvis to throw out these fucking songs, here's Blue Hawaii. The album's coming out here, shortly, or do both. Watch the movie, buy the album. It came off more as like an advertisement for this type of stuff. Even though the plot and the storyline was actually pretty good here. So that's what I didn't like about it. The musical numbers sucked, by comparison. And then there's no duet in it. Although this lead was much, much, much better than Ursula Andress and the other actress's name in Fun Acapulco. So I mean, would I recommend it? If you like Elvis, yes, watch it. Why not? If you don't like Elvis movies, this certainly isn't going to win you over. If I'm going to present an Elvis movie to you first, you know what? I don't know, because I wouldn't want to do the same thing. Set the bar high with Viva Las Vegas and then give you Blue Hawaii, which is obviously an inferior product. But then again, if you watch Blue Hawaii, you don't like it, is that going to put you off? Like, no, fuck, why would I watch Viva Las Vegas? I watched Blue Hawaii. Blue Hawaii fucking sucks. So I'm torn with this one. I think you presented these in probably the best way possible, because I do like Viva the best. Fun Acapulco was the worst of the three, and then this one's like right in the middle. And it sucks that Elvis had all these movies before Viva Las Vegas. I wish they found that recipe that they had in Viva years earlier, because all the stuff is there. In the earlier movies, it's just there wasn't the care and the craft taken in it as it was in Viva Las Vegas. They're like, what, we really want to fucking put our best foot forward in this. Let's make this the best movie possible we can. And you can tell in Viva Las Vegas. And this one is like, they kind of half-ass care, but not really. I mean, they got a decent enough story going on here, and it's decent enough. But there's no attention to the details that really would have made this better. If they would have spent, a little more time, to more convincingly integrate these musical numbers. If the songs themselves were better than what they are. And I don't know. I mean, it seems like there's more songs in this one too than there was in Fun in Acapulco.
I think it's the same number of songs, actually.
Are you sure? Because
I think
it felt like there was way more music going on in here, and that's the other thing I didn't like, especially the back-to-back numbers. If they would took the back-to-back numbers out of it, it definitely would have helped a little bit. So final answer. Again, I wouldn't recommend this to a first-time Elvis viewer, but if you do like Elvis, check it out. But if you're not familiar with his movies at all, watch Viva first. And
that's comforting to me. Like I said, I wanted to give you kind of a bit of the spectrum, because there are several really good Elvis movies, and there are a lot of, in the middle, they're competently made. But anyway, but yeah, no, I wanted to give you the spectrum, because if I'd given you 3 really good Elvis movies and you had started to, dive into his whole filmography, you'd have been like, well, these 3 were good, but the rest of them are shit. And there's a plethora of actors that have 2 or 3 good roles, and then the rest of their movies are fucking hot garbage, and they wind up getting ignored. It's so peppered. There is like 1/3 of them are really great, and 1/3 of them are, they're fun, they're okay, they're watchable, they're not bad. And if you're a fan, you get something out of them. And then there are 1/3 that you're like, what the fuck was that? And what were they thinking? But also take into account the fact that, 31 movies. He did 3 movies. He went into the military for 2 years. He got out. And then he hammered out, 28 movies in a decade.
That's fucking stupid.
And albums at the same time. So,
it's no wonder that this motherfucker was burnt out.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, he fucking lit the candle, not at both ends, but like every fucking orifice you could possibly think of. If there's a fucking wick, it was fucking lit.
Pretty much. And again, he was not under contract with one movie studio. He was under contract with multiple movie studios.
Yeah.
Because, some of these movies are Paramount, and some of them are MGM, and some of them are, just... I'm not mistaken, he had a contract with like every major film studio at the time. So, which is kind of fucking crazy. And that also explains like the quality gaps you would have the ones where they put their A-list actors and their A-list co-stars in the movie with him. And you would get the other ones that are just like, fuck it, it's an Elvis movie. It's going to make money. Who gives a shit? I have nothing but mad respect and mad admiration for the man. And he never won a Grammy for rock music. The only Grammys that he won was for his gospel albums. Wrap your head around that shit. So this was a man that he genuinely loved music. He genuinely wanted to perform for everybody. And if you ever watch any of his concert films,
the comeback fucking concert is everything you need to fucking see. Because, everybody thought he was fucking washed up already. Early, what was it, 1970, 71? When was his concert, the comeback concert?
68. I believe it was 68.
Yeah.
So
they written him off then already, and he comes back and he fucking burns the fucking house down. When I watched that video, I was like, oh, whoa, all right, I fucking get it. He's a fucking man.
And at that point,
I like some of his songs. I'm like a massive fan, but when you watch that video, you can feel. I mean, you can just feel the charisma is so palpable in that fucking in that video, that performance.
Not just the charisma. He was a charming dude. Any way you want to cut it, but it's not just the charisma. It's the fact that his passion for the music that he was playing comes across. You could look at Elvis and be like, "You're dorky or this or that. I don't find you attractive, whatever." But if you can't hear the passion that man has, he's not phoning it in.
No.
He is there for every note, for everything that he is doing. He is so into exactly what he's doing at that moment, and that is the charm of the man.
Yeah, he leaves on the fucking stage. Everything is on the fucking stage. Yeah. It's beautiful.
I'm amazed by the man. I'm enthralled at just the level of passion that man had for the music that he was performing. There are multiple examples of it. If you need two more examples, check out his live performance of Unchained Melody, which he admits at the beginning of. He's like, I haven't learned all the chords for this, but it's on the new album. I want to play it for you. It's stellar. And also check out the audio version of him singing Are You Lonesome Tonight, where he decides to change the lyrics a little bit and then he can't stop laughing. It is one of the greatest accidental recordings that you'll ever hear, and it will really show just how much Elvis you were really getting on stage. It wasn't prepackaged, it wasn't facade, it wasn't artificial. You were getting the man when he was there, for good or bad. So anything else to say about all this stuff, Mike?
No, man. I think we've hammered it home. If we haven't hammered it home in three reviews, then we're doing something wrong.
What are we watching next?
God damn it! I can never remember the name of this fucking movie.
Leave Her to Heaven.
Thank you.
It's 1947, Gene Tierney and Cornel Wilde in Leave Her to Heaven, an Academy Award-winning film that no one remembers anymore.
So. I can't remember, but don't let that fool you. I'm very excited to see it. It's just a strange title that I just cannot remember the fucking name of it. But I got it now. Leave Her to Heaven. So.
All good. Okay. Other than that, I just want to say happy birthday, Elvis. And I hope your 2021 is a hell of a lot better than your 2020.
We'll see you guys next time.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Elvis. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Elvis.